ACA or Affordable Care Act or Obamacare or Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act or PPACA is a US federal law which mandates that employers with 50 or more full-time employees must offer affordable health care to those of their employees who work more than an average of 30 hours a week or 130 hours a month. We'll break it down into 5 sections. Who the law is applicable to, how does it work, what type of healthcare is offered, penalties if fail to comply, and year-end filing. Starting with who the law is applicable to. Let's assume there is an employer with 70 employees. Out of these, 20 are full-time salaried who work 40 hours a week. From remaining 50, 35 are hourly who work on an average of 30 hours a week, and 15 are hourly who work 20 hours a week. So, number of employees who work at least 30 hours a week are 55, which is more than minimum required 50. Hence, this employer is subject to ACA regulations. Such employers are also considered as applicable large employer or ALE. Next, how does it work? We'll first understand the ACA periods, and those are measurement, administrative, and stability period. Employer during administrative period would measure the working hours of each of their employees for measurement period to determine their eligibility for affordable health care for stability period. Now let's look at the length of these periods. Measurement period can be up to 12 months long but not less than 3 months. Administrative period can be up to 90 days long. Stability period can be up to 12 months long but not less than 6 months, and certainly not less than the corresponding measurement period. For administrative ease, most employers prefer to coincide these periods with their health coverage periods. And for our ease of understanding, we will also do the same. Consider this. An employer has an annual April to March health coverage for their employees. So, for the coverage period April 2020 to March 2021, the enrollments would most likely be conducted in March 2020. In this scenario, if employer wants to coincide the ACA periods, this is where the measurement and administrative period would appear. But how does it work for an employee? During the administrative period, which is March 2020 in this case, employer will look back 1 year all the way since April 2019 and measure the working hours of their employees and determine if they have been full-time, which is at least average 130 hours, or part-time, which is less than 130 hours each month, and if an employee have maintained FT status throughout the measurement period, then he or she is eligible for affordable health plan for 12 months of stability period. Employer cannot drop them from the health plan during this period regardless of whether they maintain full-time status or not. However, a question worth asking: is ACA law ensuring employee has the affordable health care during measurement period? The answer would be yes. It would be part of previous ACA cycle, which means this measurement period will actually be stability period of previous ACA cycle. Hence, employee must be offered affordable health care during this period too. Anyway, let us now see how will it look like when employer decides to keep measurement period and stability period 6 months long. So in this case, there will be administrative period every 6 months. If you notice, ACA is ensuring the affordable health care is offered to employees over the entire cycle, as the stability period is covering every single month. Well, we saw how it works for existing employees, but what about new hires? For new hires, there is something called initial measurement, administrative and stability period, which runs in parallel with standard periods. Assuming employee is hired on July 2019, the administrative period should be on December 2019, he or she would be measured starting from the hire month. The initial stability period would be from January 2020 to June 2020. However, this new hire needs to be switched from initial periods into standard period at some point of time. But the question is when? If you notice, there is a 3 months of gap between when initial stability period is ending and when the next standard stability period is starting. So in this circumstance, new hire would get his or her initial stability period extended by 3 months, and we call it as extended stability period. Next, what type of health coverage should be offered? As per ACA guidelines, it should have 3 characteristics. It should be affordable. It should offer minimum essential coverage or MEC. It should be of minimum value or MV. First, affordability, which indicates if the health plan offered is affordable as per ACA guidelines. And to determine this, employer can use 3 methods or safe harbors, which are rate of pay, W2 and federal poverty line. The first one, rate of pay, uses employees' hourly rate multiplied with 130, which is monthly average working hours as required to attain FTE status, and then multiplied with 9.78%. The value it gives would be the maximum an employee should pay for their group health coverage in order to deem it as affordable. If they pay anything more than that, then it would lose the affordability tag. Second, W2, which uses the gross income mentioned in the W2 form, multiplied with 9.78% and then divided by 12, which gives maximum monthly cost that employee can co-pay for the healthcare plan in order to deem it as affordable. If they pay anything more than that, then it would lose the affordability tag. Third, federal poverty line, which uses federal poverty line for the corresponding year, multiplied with 9.78% and then divided by 12, which gives maximum monthly cost that employee can pay for the group healthcare plan in order to deem it as affordable. If they pay anything more than that, then it would lose the affordability tag. Well, employers are at their liberty to use any of these safe harbors, but there are some factors basis on which they decide this. Now let's see when the plan is of minimum essential coverage. So the health coverage plan must offer at least 10 essential health benefits to be considered as minimum essential coverage. And finally, when the plan is of minimum value, if the health plan pay at least 60% of the total cost of medical services and includes substantial coverage of physician and inpatient hospital services. If it meets both of these criteria, then it is deemed to be of minimum value. Let us now see how year-end filing works. At the end of the year, IRS needs the information from individuals who enrolled in health insurance coverage through the health insurance marketplace, as well as applicable large employers about whether they have complied with ACA regulations, and it's done via 1095 forms. We call this whole process year-end filing or reporting. According to IRS, employers must send employees their 1095C forms by the end of January each year. 1095C forms should be sent to IRS by the end of February if paper filed, or by end of March if it is filed electronically. Subscribe HCM Simplified and hit the bell icon. Hit like if the video was informative.